Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back for part two. I hope you enjoyed your part one lesson with Miss Spears talking about the parts of a Cinderella story that we heard in Bigfoot Cinderella and Rough Face Girl. What did you find out? Were they were they true Cinderella stories? A thumbs up? Or were they maybe missing some parts of the Cinderella story that made it not a Cinderella story? So it would have been a thumbs down. What do you think about Rough Face Girl? What did you find out? Yeah, you're right. It was a thumbs up. It was a Cinderella story. What did you learn about Bigfoot Cinderella? You think it was a thumbs up or a thumbs down? If you said thumbs up, you're right. We learned that both of those stories had all of the elements of a Cinderella story. Now, it is time for us to get started on part two, where we are going to start our second focusing question task. So let's go down to the next slide and find out what that is going to look like. What you're going to need today is you are going to need your handout 15A focusing question task 2 evidence organizer. Now, if you don't have it, that's okay. You can do all this work in your journal, but it might be easier if you do have it. So make sure you get that pulled out. Now, today we're going to be writing an opinion paragraph about Ella from Bigfoot Cinderella. Now, we learned in previous lessons that Ella had some really good traits, just like we learned about Cinderella. We learned that Ella is nature loving. We learned that she is kind and generous and strong and determined. Now, we had to have proof or evidence that she was these things, right? So we know that the actions that Ella did to prove that she was this kind of person were from the book. Now, we know that she was nature loving because she would harm no creature. We know she was kind and generous because she gives the bear her fish. And we know she was strong and determined because she dunks the prince at the end, right? So what we're going to be doing today is only filling out our focusing question task 2 evidence organizer. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, one thing that I noticed from our first focusing question task is a lot of my students turned in the handout organizer as their final work. And so we need to make sure that we know this is just for organizing our information, and that when it's time to write our paragraph, we're going to write it on a real piece of paper, okay? And that's what you're going to be submitting tomorrow. Today, we're just getting it organized and planning, and we're going to be practicing it by recording a Flipgrid, okay? So let's get started. First, I want to review with you that there are different ways that you can state your opinion on a topic. I can always say, in my opinion. That's the most common way to state our opinion. But there are also other ways that we can do that. We could say, and I've included this here as a resource for you. We could also say, I think, I feel, I like, or in my opinion. Okay? So let's take a look at our evidence organizer. I have a blank one right here. Okay? And I want to make sure that I start at the beginning. So I'm going to start with my opinion statement. Now, I'm going to go back to my list here, and I'm going to think, which of these sentence starters do I want to use to share my opinion? And I'm going to say that I feel. I'm going to use that one. So I'm going to come down here to my opinion statement box, and I'm going to type in my words. So I feel that Ella is blank. Now, then it's time for me to go back and look at the traits chart and see which of these traits I agree with and I want to share with you. So I'm going to say kind and generous. I'm going to use this one. So I would say, let's go back to our other slide here. I feel that Ella is kind and generous. Now that is my opinion statement. That sentence is done. I'm telling you my opinion. But now I have to have a reason to back that up. So I'm going to go back to my traits chart and I'm going to look for the action from the text that showed me she was kind and generous. It looks here that she gave a bear a fish, and that does show that she was kind and generous. So I'm going to go back to my evidence organizer and I'm going to say, she gave the bear a fish. Okay, that is my evidence. That tells me she was kind and generous. Then, to finish my opinion paragraph, I need to have a conclusion. So I would say that is why she is kind and generous. Okay, so, and that is in the middle of a sentence, so we don't want a capital, right? So then I have the beginning of my paragraph, or I have my paragraph. I've written my paragraph basically in my handout. But that's not what you're going to turn in tomorrow. You're going to take this and write it on a piece of paper. And I'll show you that tomorrow when it's time to turn our information on our evidence organizer into a paragraph. Okay? So this is what I'm going to use though when it's time for me to come down here to this slide where it says, click here to record a Flipgrid to practice reading your opinion paragraph. You will not submit a picture of your writing today. Today, you are only practicing your paragraph. Tomorrow, you will be turning in a picture of your writing. So that is when you're going to come back to your evidence organizer. You're going to have it in front of you. You're going to click on this link for Flipgrid, and you're going to read your paragraph like this. I feel that Ella is kind and generous. She gave the bear a fish. That is why she is kind and generous. And then you're done for the day. And then tomorrow we'll submit your writing, okay? All right, friends, now remember, this is my example, and I know there are only 3 to choose from on our traits chart. And also, just a reminder, if you think of another trait that Ella had, you can use that. You don't have to use everything, or you don't have to use exactly one from our list, but you do have to make sure you have a reason why you think she is that kind of person, okay? So get your evidence organizer filled out, do your Flipgrid to make sure that you can practice recording your paragraph or reading it to your teacher, and then tomorrow we'll submit your writing. All right, friends, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you soon.